You and your partner, you're happy, right? You love each other, you have fun, you go on dates. But lately, there's this quiet tension that you can't really place your finger on. It comes as a strain when the credit card bill comes, or an awkward silence when either of you wants to make a big purchase. You might just brush it off, but I'll tell you what, that little feeling, that's a huge warning sign. Now, you've probably heard that arguing about money is the top predictor of divorce. And while major national surveys show that it is right up there with big issues like lack of commitment and infidelity, the danger is actually very real. In fact, studies show that 40% of divorces cite financial problems as a major contributing factor. Think about that for a minute. About 4 in every 10 couples cite financial issues, cite money issues as a key reasons for them to break up. In this video, I'm going to shine a light on the silent money habits that is quietly tearing relationships apart. And more importantly, I'm going to share the conversation that can start to change everything, turning money from your biggest source of worry to the biggest tool for teamwork. Let's be clear. The problem isn't that you're broke or that your partner spent too much money on coffees or lattes or matcha tea or whatever. The real silent killer isn't money itself. It is avoiding the conversation about it. And it's really the habit of staying silent, keeping secrets, and letting quiet assumptions turn into loud resentments. The simple fix is something called financial intimacy. It may sound a bit complicated, but it just means being as open and honest about your money as you are about your feelings, your fears, and your dreams. It's about creating a safe space where you can talk about income, you can talk about debts, you can talk about your spending habits, and even your goals with anyone without being judged, especially with your partner. When you don't have that safe space, you create a vacuum which gets filled up with stress, with mistrust, and bitterness. You start to feel like you're both on different teams, playing against each other rather than working together towards a shared goal, towards a shared ambition. One person feels like they're carrying the entire financial load, while the other feels controlled or they're completely left in the dark. So don't think of it as a budgeting issue, rather think of it as a breakdown of the trust that is holding your partnership together. Now, get this breakdown of trust usually happens when one or both partners have slipped into a toxic money mindset. So let's see if any of these scenarios which I'm going to discuss sounds a bit familiar. First, there's the financial ostrich. This is the person whose mindset is, if I don't look at my bank account, the problem doesn't exist. And this is how they act. They get a lot of anxiety when anything related to money comes up. And so they probably don't know what exactly their account balance is at the moment, or they don't even know how much they're even owing on their credit card. Or when you try to talk about a budget or saving for the future, they immediately shut down and they change the topic, or they hit you with the classic, I'll look at it later. The painful part is their avoidance forces you to carry the entire mental load of the household finances. It creates this massive cloud of uncertainty because one person is trying to plan for the future while the other person is just living their own life, and they completely blindside you with their own reality. And this is an express road. This is a fast track to resentment and burnout. Next up is the secret spender. And let's be clear, this is a form of financial infidelity, and it is incredibly common. In fact, surveys show that 4 in 10 adults in relationship admit to keeping financial secrets from their partner. And this could be hiding their credit card balances, or having a secret bank account, or sometimes they even go as far as hiding the true cost of that big item that they actually bought. In some studies looking at divorces caused by credit card debt, a shocking number of people reported that their ex-spouse hid debt. But on the flip side, a secret spender isn't necessarily a bad person. But a lot of the time, they usually hide these things because they're afraid, or they have a lot of guilt, or they're just scared of being judged, or maybe they're just trying to avoid a fight altogether. But the impact that this secret spender habit is having on a relationship is quite devastating, because when the truth inevitably comes out, when you finally find out what's really going on, it's not just about the money anymore. It's the deep breach of trust, where you're looking at your partner thinking, if you can lie about this, what else are you hiding? And then we have the benevolent controller. And this one is a bit tricky because on the surface, it looks like they're just being responsible. You know, this kind of person that they handle everything, they pay all the bills, they manage the investments, they even track every single dollar of the household. And they might say things like, don't worry about it, I'll cover it, or I just don't want to stress you with all the numbers. Deep down, they genuinely believe they're protecting you. But what they are actually doing is creating a huge power imbalance where one partner is left feeling helpless and powerless and completely out of the loop of the household finances. The partner who doesn't know what's going on may not even have access to the passwords of the bank accounts. They may not even understand the household investment strategy. They may not even know the total household net worth. And they might have no idea of what to do if the controller is not even available. And so it makes one partner feeling like a child, and it creates an unhealthy dynamic of dependency, which is not really what you want in a partnership of equals. So if any of this is hitting home, if you and your partner see yourself in one of these roles and you're ready to break that cycle, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it tells the algorithm that this is a conversation worth having. So how do you fix this? How do you go from being a financial ostrich or a secret spender to being true financial partners? It all starts with a single conversation, but it's not the one you're actually thinking. This conversation is what we call the money date. And it's a simple concept where you and your partner talk about money in a calm and intentional setting. In this setting, there isn't any blame, there isn't any confrontation, but more of a reminder that you're both on the same team. And the goal is to turn money from a source of anxiety into a tool that you can both use to build the life that you both want, into a tool that you can both use to grow your love stronger. And the beautiful thing is it works because it removes the elements of surprise that money talks usually have. It removes the element of surprise that makes talking about money feel so tense. So you both agree on the time and the place, and you can both show up mentally and emotionally prepared to have these conversations. And it creates a recurring and safe space where honesty is the only rule that matters, and honesty is key in having a money date. So it stops talking about money from being a random heated argument into something that is more structured, something that has a more positive outcome. And it also stops the conversation from focusing on what went wrong into what you can actually build together, into what you can actually do right going forward. So to make this easier, let me give you a 5-step blueprint for you to get started. Now, remember that the goal is not to create a perfect color-coded budget in one night. You don't want to hit perfection in one night because that will be overwhelming. The goal here is to open the door to more conversations, to open the door to communication and better understanding. Step 1, set the stage. You have to treat this like an actual date. So put it on the calendar. Do not spring it on your partner when they're tired or they just came back from work and they're trying to decompress. That will be so unfair to them. So pick a comfortable, neutral spot, maybe like a coffee shop or a park, or even your living room, somewhere where you're both comfortable. You have your favorite drinks, non-alcoholic, of course, so that you can both think clearly. And the mission is to create a calm, positive vibes where there'll be no distractions. So this is your protected time. When you want to start this conversation, do not start with a deep review of your bank statement. That will be too overwhelming to start with. Use the first 15-20 minutes to talk about anything but the numbers. You can use this time to talk about your shared goals. What do you want the next 1 year to look like? What do you want your money to look like? What do you want to do with your money? Do you want to travel? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to save for a business? Or do you want to plan towards early retirement? This step is the most critical step because it connects your money to real life. It connects your money to real targets, real things that you can work towards, rather than just a vague concept of money. And it builds up a shared future that both of you can see and visualize, not really focusing on your past mistakes. When you get to step 3, you start to unpack your money stories, and this is where you start to build real financial intimacy. Ask each other questions with genuine curiosity. Questions like, what was the first thing you remember learning about money? Or how did your parents handle money growing up? Or you can also ask them what their money story is, because everybody has a money story, which usually comes from their upbringing, and it affects how they see money going forward as adults. Maybe they've lived paycheck to paycheck growing up, and it has created a deep fear of not having enough money as adults. Maybe their family, they never really talked about money, and the parents just usually handled everything, or maybe the dad just handled all the financial affairs and nobody really knows what the household money was looking like. So you want to dive into that story to understand where they're coming from. That way you can build empathy, you can understand where they're coming from, and you can replace judgment with more understanding, you can replace judgment with more compassion, so you can then work towards what you want to achieve together. At step 4, this is the part where you get transparent without any judgment. Okay, now you can actually review the numbers. Those numbers that you've been putting aside from step 1 to step 3, this is the time to bring everything out. But the only rules that apply in step 4 is radical transparency and zero blame. Remember that as you go forward, radical transparency and zero blame. because we want to create a judgment-free zone where you can bring everything out, where you can bring out all your income, all the debt, your savings, and even that secret credit card that you've been hiding. This is the time to bring it out for review. In this point, at where you're going through the review, use the I statement instead. Rather than saying you spend too much, try saying I feel uncomfortable when our credit card balance gets too high because I worry it will prevent us from reaching our savings target. You see how that sounds a lot different from using, oh, you spend too much, which sounds very, very accusatory. The point here is you want to talk about things as our numbers. You want to talk about things as a shared collective rather than you or me or you did this or I did that. No. So it's more of taking a collective approach towards the financial picture and going with the we're going to figure it out together mindset. The fifth step is where you bring everything together and you create one simplified plan. Now, in step 5, do not try to fix everything at once because that will be impossible. The goal of step 5 is not to chase perfection, but to start to build momentum. So what I want you to do in this step is pick one small achievable target that you would work on before your next money date. Recall that this is a series of conversations. You want to keep having these conversations. So after each date, pick one target, then work on it before the next one. And this target could be something as simple as setting an automated transfer into your savings, or it could be an agreement to start making more home-cooked meals rather than eating out every single day, because that's going to save you some money. Or you can maybe just agree on a system, like you both come into a new way of seeing your money. Like you're not going to say it as yours or mine, is going to be ours. So celebrate that small win when you hit it at your next date, because it has proven that you can both work as a team. One thing I want you to take away from this video is this, and it's very simple. That toxic money habit that is silently killing your relationship, whether it is avoidance, secrecy, or control, right? It only thrives in the darkness. And the only thing that will make it go away is bringing it into the light. So I want you to know that it's not about being perfect with your money. It's more about being present with your partner. So the money date that I've talked about, the one that I gave you the 5 steps towards organizing, is not a magic wand. It's not a fix all, but it's a first step. It's an intentional choice that will turn you guys towards each other rather than away. By scheduling this time to talk about your money, by scheduling this time to connect on a financial level and understand where you're both working towards, you are sending a powerful message that your partnership is more important than any financial stress. You're also sending a stronger message that when you're both together, you can overcome any financial difficulties. So remember that you are both a team and you're working towards an amazing life. So if you're ready to make your relationship stronger, if you're ready to start a conversation about your money that will make your love grow stronger, I want you to hit that like and subscribe button because it will help me build more videos like this. So let me know in the comments, what is one shared goal that you're both working towards? Let me know if this content has really helped you in any way, and I'll see you on the next one.